Today I'm going to talk to you about setting up a blog. So if you haven't done one, it might sound intimidating at first, but it is really very easy to use, especially when you work through one of like the pre-created websites, the two most popular ones being WordPress and Blogger. Everyone will need to set up a Google account when we do peer review because we're going to share our iSearch papers through Google Docs. So if you haven't done so, I suggest you can do that now and use Blogger as well, which is a program of Google, and then you don't have to worry about multiple sign-ins. Blogger I think is a little bit easier to use, but I prefer WordPress. I think WordPress is probably a little bit more popular if web design or blogging or social media marketing, if those things are of interest to you, then you might find it a little bit more valuable to use WordPress. However, if this is probably the only blog you ever see yourself writing, I would use Blogger especially because we're already going to be using Google Docs. So if I just type in blogger.com, it automatically takes me to the Blogger dashboard because I'm already logged into my Google Docs. My Google Docs, excuse me, my Google account. So you see I have 4 different blogs already in place through this account. You will have more than likely nothing here, so you'll have to hit the new blog button. So when you're thinking of your title and address, you might think about how private you want to be. So I think sometimes people are leery about having a blog because they don't want people to see anything they're doing. The wonderful thing about Blogger, or anything actually online, is you can be whoever you want to be. I can be Mike. I can call this Mike's 30-day challenge, even though I'm not Mike. And your address, usually you want to pick an address that corresponds with whatever your subject matter is, especially if you want others to find you, which can be a really helpful thing when you're doing a challenge. People might follow you, like you, encourage you. So let's say my 30-day forgetful challenge. So that one's available. You might have to play around with this a little bit because there are lots and lots of bloggers. So all you have to do then is hit create blog. I will not go through this process because I already have blogs in place. So I'm just going to hit cancel, and when you have your blog created, then when you log into Blogger, you'll see it listed right here. And this little pencil icon is how you create a new post. And this is the Delta College Writ Center's blog page. And so I don't contribute to this, but I am one of the editors of it. It's where our consultants post things about the Writing Center. So if you click the pencil, it gets you to the page where you can actually create a blog post. So our first post is going to be to introduce our readers, which will be each other, to our 30-day challenge. So what we're going to put on our first blog is actually going to be the conclusion of our iSearch. So part of the conclusion, 30-day challenge design. So just to review, and I'm going to have this on e-learning, in the reflection and conclusion of our iSearch project, we're going to talk a little bit about how well our research questions were answered, what knowledge we found helpful, talk a little bit about the research and how it's going to shape our 30-day challenge, and then number 5 is going to be give the details of your 30-day challenge. So this is the part that you're going to put online, and when we do our blogs, we're going to have a 200-word minimum word count. So if you don't have enough words of just what you plan to do with your 30-day challenge, you can also bring in some words from your introduction to your iSearch to kind of put them together. This is why I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing. So, and again, this will be also on our e-learning site, a little bit more of the details about this. So all you do is start typing. So for my 30-day challenge, and that's all there is to it. So things to note about this is it doesn't have like a robust spelling and grammar check the way Microsoft Word does, nor can you easily see your word count. So I suggest typing your posts first in Microsoft Word and then copy and pasting them into your blog just so that you have a little bit of more editing before you put it into the Blogger site, because one thing that you'll be graded on is your grammar. So if you have more than 3 errors, you're going to start to see deductions, because not only is this a place for us to kind of keep a journal and be accountable, to help keep us on track when it comes to our 30-day challenges, but it's also a place to practice our writing. So that is Blogger. Oh, one last thing. If you can't finish a blog post, you're going to want to hit save. But when you are finished, you're going to want to hit the orange publish button. And to make sure it published, because sometimes things don't always go the way we think they go, it's always helpful to actually view the blog to see how things look. Alright, so that's Blogger in a nutshell. WordPress, you go here, is create website or create blog. You're going to want to create the blog. So it's going to take you through a few different things. Most of us might be falling under health and wellness. Choosing the theme, which to me is the most fun. You can get lost here forever. One thing to note, text is going to probably be our emphasis, so we're not really going to do the photo gallery unless your challenge has something to do with that. Enter domain or key name. So let's see, 30. Alright, so we want the free option. Well, I think we want the free option. I mean, if you really want to pay $18 a year to have your own domain name, feel free, but it is certainly not required. And again, we want that free plan. So I already have an account. So I'm going to go back to WordPress and log in so you can see what it looks like. So it takes me to the reader page. So if you subscribe to any blogs, this is what will pop up on your main page. My sites, this is where I actually can do my posts. So you can see it looks a little bit more complex, not quite as easy as Blogger. So this is what they call the dashboard. So we have blog posts. So this tells me all the blog posts I've written before. But up here on the top right, you're going to see that pencil. And where have we seen a pencil before? We've seen it on Blogger. So there is some common thread here. Hit the pencil and boom, right here we're to the site where we actually can write. So you can see this looks pretty similar. Most blogs and website builders, they all have a screen that looks like this. So they'll all have, very commonly you'll see like a paper clip or a chain for making a link. A little bit different where here you have the add media button. Here if you want to add media, you get picture, movie. So there's some little bit of difference in terms of the menu, but otherwise it's still the same. This one does have a word count, so kind of one advantage you have. You see it's underlining red, so a little bit of a spell check, though still I would trust Microsoft Word or your word processing software editing a little bit more, but WordPress is a little bit more advanced than Blogger in that manner, so kind of a nice feature. And once you have it written, you can hit publish. If you're not quite finished or you want to write something and come back and then edit it, which is always a good strategy, you're going to want to hit Save Draft. Alright, so that's the 2 sites. If you have specific questions, because right now I just gave you the very bare bones, just a little bit of comparison, but if you start in Blogger or you start in WordPress and you're like, oh, I want to change my theme, but I'm not sure how to do that, or I want to add this link or add this video and it's not working for me, I'm happy to create kind of on the fly tutorials for like specific questions, though you can always Google that too, like how do I do this in Blogger, and you will find the answer, or an array of YouTube videos that can offer tutorials as well. But I don't want to give you too much at once, so here's the basics, and then play around with it, and when you run into problems, immediately email me. So don't play around for 2 days and then finally break down and email me saying, I can't get this, I've tried for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. As soon as something's not working for you, send me an email. So I'm very used to working with WordPress and Blogger, so I'm happy to help in any way that I can. Alright, I hope you enjoy blogging.